few months ago, I had the occasion to meet with some ministers from some other churches, Lutheran, Baptist, Methodist. And one of the things we were discussing is some of the peculiarities of our congregations. And one of the things that they all said they had in common was that everybody sat in the back and they had a hard time getting them to come up to the front. So I think most Christians identify with this gospel when they sit in the back. As you listen to the scriptures today, though, you would think, based on that reading from Sirach, that we're talking about humility today. But I think the lesson that Jesus wants to give us is much harder than that. We heard in Hebrews how people didn't want to hear anymore what was expected of them, begged to be let off. But Jesus is not letting us off today. He continues that gospel reading, or finishes it rather, by saying to you and to me that if you give a banquet, don't invite your friends and the rich folks. Invite the people that cannot repay you. What the Lord says to us in this reading is that we should have a concern for those people that are less fortunate than you and me. In whatever our circumstances happen to be, there is always someone else who's worse off than we are. As I spoke at the nursing home this morning, and I'm in a room filled with people in wheelchairs, I had the same message for them. There are people worse off. We sit here in air-conditioned comfort. There are people out there that don't have that. We have people out there that don't even have a roof over their heads, that can't put food on their tables, that can't afford health care, that are unemployed. There's a myriad of things that are going on out in the real world that people are worse off than you and me. This week, we celebrated the 100th birthday of Theresa of Kolkata, Mother Theresa, born of parents that would be considered probably middle class or merchant class at her time at the beginning of the last century. Left home and went to India as a nun at the age of 19. We also celebrated the anniversary of Damien of Molokai, born in Holland, again merchant class family, left them, went into missionary work in Hawaii. Both he and Mother Theresa found that their lives lacked meaning, and they went to serve those that were poorer than they. You know the history of Mother Theresa starting the Sisters of Charity and their work among the most poor and destitute and dying of the port city of Kolkata in India. Perhaps you're not as familiar with Father Damien, who was sent to be the priest to the leper colony on Molokai in the Kingdom of Hawaii. Neither Damien nor Theresa got so filled with self-importance because they were the head of the order or in charge of the mission that they had others do the work. They got right in there and did the same menial tasks as everyone else in the community. Damien came down with leprosy because he was always caring for the lepers. Mother Theresa certainly looked frail during the times that she became world famous. But we can only imagine the hardships that she endured in her ministry when she didn't have enough food for herself and she was sharing that with those that had less. You and I have a responsibility to look around us to see who is in need. We have a responsibility to reach out to them in that need. As Jesus reaches out to us in love to remind us that we are loved by God, we need to find those less fortunate in our neighborhoods, in our own families perhaps, and reach out to them to remind them they are loved not only by us, but by God.